So good afternoon, everyone, and we are on today's probably the last lecture for relative motion. We are discussing relative motion in 2D, and I think in the previous class we had seen this upstream and downstream problem where the man was going upstream or downstream depending on the direction of flow. He was either moving with the direction of river flow, we call it downstream, or he was swimming against the direction of river flow, we call it upstream. Now upstream downstream questions are done. Now what we are going to do is we are going to solve the question in which the man is going to cross the river. So the heading becomes river crossing question. And as soon as we understand, as soon as we understand that it's a river crossing question, we must understand that the motion is going to happen in a plane or the motion is going to happen in 2D. Now we are going to understand this river crossing thing. Let us say in two cases. Case number one, when he crosses the river in the shortest time. When he crosses the river in the shortest time. Now, when will he cross the river in the shortest possible time? That is the question. So normally, let us see what is given to you in the question. In the question, what would be given to you is probably the river would be given. Oops. You would be given that there is a river flowing. The first thing that you would be given is the width of the river. Let us call this as W. The width of the river would be given to you, W. And obviously this river is flowing, so we'll assume that it is flowing in this direction. The river is flowing in this direction. And again, the velocity of river flow, as you can see, the river is flowing like this. The velocity of river flow is given to you. Remember this U? This U is the velocity of river. U is the velocity of river with respect to what? With respect to? No one knows? With respect to ground, it would be the velocity of river with respect to ground. Now, how should he cross the river? Normally, you would be having this point A on this bank of the river, and you would be having a point B exactly opposite to that. Now, the question is, he can swim in various ways. He can swim like this along the green direction. He can swim along this direction, the maroon one, or he can swim like this along the red direction. Now remember, the case that we are dealing with, we are calling that case as the case of shortest time. Now, this does not require physics, it does require common sense. Can you tell me, of all these three directions, which direction do you think he should swim to get to the other side of the river, to cross the river in the shortest possible time? How should he swim? Should he swim along the green direction, like this, backwards? Should he swim perpendicular to the river, or should he swim at an angle, acute angle with the river flow? How should he swim so that he gets to the river in the shortest possible time? Green, maroon, or the red one?
Green.
Hmm?
Green.
Green. What makes you think that green what is the reason you think that he should swim in the green direction? There has to be some reason, right? What reason tells you that he should swim in the green direction? What what makes you believe that green is the direction? Yes, there must be some reason.
There is a flow now, sir.
There is a flow now, sir. Yes, there is a flow. So that means he should swim green. So he'll get to the bank on the shortest time. No, that is not correct. He should swim in a direction which is perpendicular to the river. So he should swim like this. This velocity v would be given to you, and this velocity v will be velocity of man or boat. I am writing rain. This will be the velocity of man with respect to what? With respect to the river. Sometimes it is given straight away as velocity of man with respect to river. Sometimes they will say that man can swim with a velocity of 3 km per hour in still water, in river. That is actually the velocity of man with respect to the river. To cross the river in the shortest possible time. So the condition is very simple. What is the condition? To cross the river in the shortest time, and you must remember this. What is the condition? Now, since I've told you, what is the condition to cross the river in the shortest possible time? The condition is right now on your board. What is the condition? You must swim. The velocity of man with respect to river should be perpendicular to the velocity of the river. If he swims in that way, he will cross the river in the shortest possible time. The next question that is going to come, will he reach the opposite end by swimming? No, he swims like this, but the river is flowing like this. These velocities will get added up, and you will get this as the net velocity of the man, and he will not reach point B. In fact, he will reach point C. And the distance between B to C is known as x. And this x is known as the drift. He has drifted this much of distance. So this x is known as the drift. Now this red velocity will be the velocity of man with respect to ground. Do we understand this? Yes or no? So effectively, if you see effectively from ground, he will be swimming at this angle with respect to the perpendicular direction. Now, how do we solve this? What they are going to ask you is what will be the drift? And the next question, so this is unknown to us. We don't know how much is the drift. And the next question that is unknown to us is the time he takes to cross the river. So these two things are unknown. What is normally given to you are these three things: the width of the river, the velocity of man with respect to the river, and the velocity of the river. And obviously they will tell us that this case is the case where he crosses the river in the shortest possible time. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Now, there are different number of ways in which you can solve this. I will tell you all the different ways. I will tell you all the different combinations. You just have to understand them, remember them, and whenever a question comes, apply them, and you will get the answer. What all things can be asked? As I told you, one thing that can be asked is x, the drift. The other thing that can be asked is the time. The third thing that they can ask you is this VMG, velocity of man with respect to ground. The fourth thing that they can ask you is the angle theta. Now, how are you going to calculate or find out everything? Let us start. Let us start with the first thing first. Let me make some line so that we can do it. Okay. So let us write all the things that we can write out. The first thing that we can definitely write is velocity of man with respect to ground. We can straight away write the formula. That will be velocity of man with respect to river plus velocity of river with respect to ground. We had used this formula in the upstream downstream case also, yes or no? The formula does not change. The only thing that has changed is the direction in which he is swimming. So this is the first thing that you should remember. Velocity of man with respect to river plus velocity of river with respect to ground. Now, from here, you can write the same thing in various ways. Velocity of man with respect to ground, if you want to write it in vector form, you can write the velocity of man with respect to river in vector form. That is, from the diagram, you can write it as Vj plus Ui. You understand how I written this? Vj Ui. It's not good to write it this way, so I will write it like this: Ui plus Vj, because we always write the x component of velocity first. Now, if someone asks you what is the magnitude of this velocity, well, you can find it out from I and j. It will be under root of I square plus x square, or x square plus y square. So it will be u square plus v square. You can find this velocity from the vector equation, or you can look at the right angle triangle VU and VMG. They form a right angle triangle. From there also you can see that VMG is the hypotenuse, V and U, V is the base and U is the perpendicular. Do we understand this? Now, you can also find the value of this tan theta. Remember, this tan theta is with the vertical, and the value of this tan theta with the vertical is U by V. Do we understand this? So this is the angle he actually makes when he actually flows, when he actually moves, when he actually swims. This is the angle that he makes. Now, sometimes instead of asking you this angle, they will not ask you this angle. They will ask you basically this angle, the angle that he makes with the river flow. Let me not call it theta, let me call it as phi. So tan of this phi with the river flow, can anyone tell me what will be the tan of this phi that it makes with the river flow? As you can see, the both theta and phi are complementary angles, yes or no? So when tan theta with vertical is u by v, tan theta with the horizontal will be v by u, yes or no? Do we understand this? The other thing that you can also remember is theta plus phi will be equal to 90 degrees. I hope everyone understands this. If you draw the diagram, everything is coming from the diagram, yes or no? Now, to find out the time taken, to cross the river, he must move a distance w along y-axis, and the velocity along y-axis is v. So the time he takes will be simply w divided by v. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Okay, time is w by v. Now you can look at this right angle triangle, and there are some things that you can understand from this right angle triangle. For example, sine of this theta is u divided by vmg. You can also write it as u divided by root over u square plus v square. Do we understand this? The cos of this theta is v divided by vmg. V divided by vmg. You can write it also as v divided by root over u square plus v square. I am writing all the equations that are possible to be made here. A question that comes in your exam could ask any of these. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Now, coming back to time, it is w divided by v, and I can write it as w divided by v is vmg cos theta. So I can also write it like this. Or I can also write it w divided by u tan theta. Now it doesn't matter how the question is asked. If you understand the maths part of it, everything looks pretty simple. Yes or no? The only thing that is left now is to find out the value of x. Now, how do I find out the value of x? X is the distance or the displacement along x-axis. So how do you find out the value of x? There is no acceleration here. You multiply the velocity along x-axis with time t. So u into t will give you the value of the drift. Now you can put the value of t from the value of time. So you can write it as u by v multiplied by w. Yes or no? And if you look at u by v, it is actually equal to tan theta. So you can also write this as w tan theta. In fact, if you look at this bigger triangle, this bigger right angle triangle, do you see this bigger right angle triangle? X divided by w will also be equal to tan theta. So I can I can write it as x divided by w. This is everything that you must know about this particular case. Return is just one window. I'll give you 5 minutes. Read each and everything. Once you have understood this, try to remember them. Draw the diagram once again and write all these things on your own. If you can write all these things on your own, that means you have understood the concept. Do we get this? So I'll give you 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Take a deep breath. Look at all these equations. Draw the diagram once again. If you have any doubt, ask me, because this is all that you need to know. There's only one more case remaining and we are done. Look at this diagram. See if you have understood this. I'll give you 2 minutes to do this. Keep calm. Try to understand. Try to write all the equations by yourself once. The time starts now. Once you are done, please let me know.
Completed, sir.
Everyone has done this, understood this? Because once the next question comes, if you are again looking at the formulae, that does not solve any purpose. Okay, so I hope everyone remembers them. Here
Yes, sir.
comes the question. I hope you can do this. A 400-meter wide river is flowing at the rate of 2 meters per second. A boat is sailing with a velocity of 10 meters per second with respect to the river in a direction perpendicular to the river. Find the time taken by the boat to reach the opposite bank. How far from the point directly opposite to the starting point does the boat reach? In what direction does the boat actually move with the river flow? So these are the three questions. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve them on your own. Your time starts now. Yes, are we done? Okay, still trying. Try it. Anyone with any answer?
Sir, 40 seconds.
Yes, beta?
40 seconds.
Okay, you are trying. I hope.
40 seconds, sir. Hello?
All the three answers I need. First answer is 40 seconds, correct? What about the second one?
80, sir.
80. What is the direction of flow, direction of boat from the river flow? Third answer. First two are correct. Yes. What about the third one?
4/5.
4 by 5. How did you get 4 by 5? No, that is wrong. How did you get 4 by 5? I'll give you 2 more minutes for everyone else. Last 2 minutes. I hope everyone has tried this question. You should be able to get the answer. If you're not getting the answer, that means you have not understood what we had discussed. So, what all things are given to you? The width of the river is given as 400 meters. This is point A, this is point B. I'm assuming that the river is flowing like this. U is the velocity of river, and that is given as 2 meter per second. The boat is going perpendicular. Velocity V is 10 meter per second with respect to water. The velocity of river will get added up, and that will be the resultant velocity, and it will end up here. This distance would be x. This is angle theta with the vertical. Let us go about answering the questions. The first one is, what is the time taken? So what is the time taken? Time taken is 400. Oh, let me write the formula first if you want to. W divided by V, 400 divided by 10, and the answer is 40 seconds. Everyone got this? Can I have raise hands from everyone that we got this? Great. Well done. The second thing is the value of x. There are different ways of doing it. I will just apply u into t. So I will get 80 meters. So we'll end up at 80 meters. Anyone got the third one? The third one. If I ask the value of tan theta, which is the vertical, that will be u divided by v. So it will be 1 by 5. This implies theta will be tan inverse of 1 by 5. But this is not the angle they have asked. They have asked the angle with the river flow. That means they have asked this angle phi. So you can write this in two ways. The first way is this phi can be written as 90 minus tan inverse of 1 by 5. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Or the other way is to find the tan of that value phi. I can find the value of tan phi. That value of tan phi will be v by u. That will be equal to 10 by 2 is equal to 5. So I can write phi as tan inverse of 5. So these are the two ways in which you can write the same thing. How many of you got the same answer? Only two people. That means you have not done it properly. So you have to go back to the diagram and go through the diagram once again. I'll give you 2 minutes to go through the diagram once again. If you can't do it just after 1 minute, that means that you have not read it properly. So again, you have got 2 minutes to go through the entire discussion once again. Read it once again. Let me know once you're done.
Sir,
Everyone ready it again? Then comes this question, which I am noting down.
sir, once can you scroll the previous one?
I'm already done. What happened? Now you have to do this question. You have already read it, no?
Sir, show the previous slides.
Which previous
Sir,
slide? Which previous one, beta?
first question, sir.
What is there in first question that you have not understood? Ask me. What is there in the first question that you have not understood?
Yes.
Okay. Can you move on? Shall you move on to the next question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here is the question that I have written for you, and you have 2 minutes to solve this. A man can swim in still water. This is how the question is framed. A man can swim in still water with a velocity of 4 meter per second. River is flowing with a velocity of 3 meters per second. He wishes to cross the river in the shortest possible time. The first question is, in which direction should he swim? Number 2, what is its velocity with respect to ground? Number 3, what is the shortest time? Number 4, what is the drift? Number 5, what number 4 is what is the drift? The numbering has got confused. Number 4 is the drift, and number 5 is what is the direction of his actual velocity. Actual velocity means velocity with respect to ground with the direction of river flow. So these are the 5 questions. You have 2 minutes to solve them. Okay, so I hope everyone has got the answers, yes or no? Let us see what are the answers one by one. So here, this 4 is the velocity of man with respect to river. So this is actually V. And if you look at this 3 meter per second, that is actually your velocity of river with respect to ground. Yes or no? What is not given here, which I've forgotten, is the width of the river. So let us take the width of the river as 20 meters. So I forgot to mention it. I realized that I forgot to mention it. The width of the river is 20 meters, and let us start solving the question now. The first thing is, in which direction should he swim with respect to the river? How should he swim with respect to the river? What is the first answer? How should he swim with respect to the river? How should he swim with respect to the river? No one knows it. Okay, so his velocity with respect to the river, V, must be perpendicular to you. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Okay. The next question is, what is his velocity with respect to ground? Anyone got this answer? No one got this answer. Anyways, the velocity, oops, wrong color. Velocity of man with respect to ground, if I talk about the magnitude, it will be equal to root over 3 square plus 4 square.
5 meter
So its
per
velocity
second.
with respect to ground would be 5 meter per second. Why do you take so long to answer? If you take so long, I will think that you have not got the answer, beta. Please answer quickly. I know that you probably would have done this. What is the shortest time, anyone? How much time it takes to cross the river? That is the shortest time. Anyone got this, or should I write the answer? No one got it. So I heard something. So it is 20 W divided
5,
by
sir.
4. That is 5 seconds. So the shortest time is 5 seconds. Correct. The next question is, what is the drift? How far he goes ahead? Anyone knows the answer for this one? So the drift, I think I'm not able to hear your voice correctly. That is U into T. So it would be 15 meters. Yes or no? I don't have to draw the diagram now because the diagram is now in my head. What is the direction that his actual velocity? His actual velocity means the velocity of man with respect to ground. His actual velocity makes with the direction of river flow. Anyone got this answer? And want to know the value of phi? What is the value of phi? What is the value of phi? No one got this. So if I
3
want to
by
write,
4, sir.
Sir, 37.
that is absolutely wrong. Tan inverse 4 by 3 is the direction with the river flow. So that is not 37 degrees. It is in fact 53 degrees. I'm not asking the value of theta. Theta is tan inverse 3 by 4, and that is 37 degrees. Normally, whenever the angle is asked, it is always with the direction of river flow. So please remember it. I hope you can remember it, yes or no? Well, these are the two questions based on the concept of shortest time. Everyone has noted this down, yes or no? Then we move on to the next case. Case number B,
Sir.
shortest distance. Yes, Bicha, what happened? Shall we move ahead?
Sir, please can you show the previous one?
What is in that slide that you don't understand, beta?
I will not it.
Write it. If you are writing it still from the whiteboard, beta, that means you have not understood the question. So there is no point of writing it. What is the doubt that you have? Please ask. If you're writing from the whiteboard, you're not going to be able to solve the question in the examination hall. Ask me what is the doubt, what you have not understood. Ask me the doubt, beta. If you're copying it from the book, then you have not understood it. Yes. Which part you have not understood? Please ask. Which part you have a doubt? So noting down from the whiteboard, that is not a good sign. Anyways, have you noted it down? Okay, let's move ahead then. The next thing is crossing the river in the shortest distance. Now, how can I cross the river in the shortest distance? Now, again, I have the river. This is the river. Again, what is known to me is the width of the river W. Again, I have two opposite banks of the river A and B. Now, I have to cross the river in the shortest distance. That means I have to go from point A to the opposite end. The opposite end, the shortest point would be point B, yes or no? So basically it means that the shortest distance is that I have to move in such a way that I start at A and reach B. I know that if I move straight like this, I will never reach B, I will reach ahead. So logically speaking, and it has got nothing to do with physics, bacha. Logically speaking, I cannot move perpendicular, because if I move perpendicular, I will move ahead. I will not move the shortest distance. So logically speaking, again, U will be given to you. So logically speaking, I must move along this line like this. This should be my velocity with respect to the river. Then what should happen, that things should happen in such a way that your U will add to your V, and in such a way that your velocity, your velocity with respect to ground becomes straight like this. This is your velocity of man with respect to ground. If it becomes straight, you will end up at the exact opposite end. Do we understand this? How I am getting at the exact opposite end now? If I move perpendicular like this, I will end up there. So to move in the shortest distance, I move like this. I move at an angle theta. I move at an angle theta. Now again, we will write everything. What is there? This is the diagram. This is the main diagram. What all things we can write from this diagram? I will write everything that is possible. Please note them down carefully. The first thing that we are going to write is the same thing, velocity of man with respect to ground. It is always equal to velocity of man with respect to river plus velocity of river with respect to ground. Here they are at different angles. So when I write them, they look a bit different. Velocity of man with respect to river is V like this. So if I have to break it up into X and Y components, the Y component will be V cos theta. So V cos theta J. The X component will be V sin theta. V sin theta J. V sin theta I. You don't have to really remember this. You can find it out this. Plus velocity of river with respect to ground, it is like this. So it can be written as Ui. If I just arrange the terms, take I terms together, so it will look like U minus V sin theta into I plus V cos theta into J. This is how it will look like. As you can see here, the drift X is 0. There is no drift along x-axis. He reaches the exact opposite end. That means this x component of velocity has to be 0. That gives us our first equation. U is equal to V sine theta. You can also see it from the right angle triangle that I have drawn there. The value of sine theta will be equal to U by V. And remember, this value of sine theta should be less than 1. That means this condition is only possible when U is smaller than V. So you must remember that you can only do this when U is smaller than V. Do we understand this? You can only reach the opposite end. You can only travel in the shortest distance if U, the velocity of the river, is less than his own velocity. Okay, drift is 0. The next thing they can ask you, let me put this in a, the next thing they can ask you is the time. Time is W divided by VMG here. Why it is VMG? Because VMG is the velocity which is in the y-axis. There are different number of ways in which you can write VMG. From the right angle triangle, you can write VMG as under root of V square minus U square. Yes or no? You can write it as under root of V square minus U square. You can also write it as V cos theta. Remember, this V cos theta is along J, so you can also write it as V cos theta. From the triangle, I can write the value of all these angles. Sin theta will be U by V. Cos theta will be VMG by V. VMG is root over V square minus U square by V. If you want, you can also write the value of tan theta. Tan theta will be equal to U divided by VMG. That will be equal to U divided by root over V square minus U square. If you just remember this triangle, you should be able to find out all the possible answers here. Do we understand this?
So,
Okay, let us move on and solve one question. Everyone has noted this down.
I'll wait for a minute.
Okay, I'll wait here. One more thing that you should note down, that sometimes they will ask you the direction with river flow. Remember, when they ask you the direction with river flow, they're asking you this angle phi here. It's an obtuse angle, remember. Remember, this angle phi will be 90 degrees or pi by 2 plus your theta, and your theta is sine inverse U by V. Remember, this case is only possible when U is smaller than V. Do we understand this? Okay.
Sir, completed.
Well done. Then this is a question. I don't think we have the time remaining to solve it. So I'll give you this question as an homework. And here is the homework question. A man can swim at the rate of 5 km per hour in still water. So that has to be his. This is his value of V. A 1 kilometer wide river. That means this is definitely the width of the river, W. Flows at the rate of 3 kilometer per hour. This is definitely your U. The man wishes to swim across the river directly opposite to the starting point. So you can understand which case is this. Directly opposite to the starting point. There are 3 questions. Along which direction must he swim? You should give the direction with the river flow. What is the resultant velocity? Question number 2. How much time does it take to cross the river? That is question number 3. So there are 3 questions, and I hope that you can solve them as homework in the hostels or your home, and you will give me the answer in the next class. Can I expect that, yes or no? Well done, then we will. In the next class, I thought that I would be able to complete this, but it seems that we could not complete this. Anyways, we'll complete this in the next class. So we'll complete relative motion in the next class then, and we'll start with the circular motion wala part. Take care. If you have any doubts, you can always ask me. Bye bye, everyone.
Wait, sir.